I mean, it's almost completely sealed now. It's gone down 90%, border crossings and gotaways. Unleashing American energy dominance. He declared a national energy emergency. He has already spurred on the approval of more drilling and pipelines and refineries and power plants and reactors, and he ended the electric vehicle mandate from the last administration. All the destructive policies are being unwound from the last team. On the economy, he's brought down inflation and gas prices. He's getting China to address the tariff disparity that we've had with them, the imbalance, and the fact that they steal our intellectual property, and they sent fentanyl over our borders that became the number one cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 49. Restoring common sense. We've ended DEI in the military and the government. We're restoring freedom of speech. We're defending the Christian faith and freedom of religion. Kept men out of women's sports. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So everything he said on that campaign trail and the countless number of rallies that he did leading up to the election, he is already checking the boxes. Now, we have to do our job, the parallel effort in Congress, to get that done and to codify, to put into law all these things. And the one big, beautiful reconciliation bill is going to be the key vehicle to get that done.
Larry Elder, along with Chris Stigall, we are talking about the 100 days of President Donald John Trump 2.0. Chris, the other thing, too, and Speaker Johnson touched on it, is that we're smashing recruiting numbers in the military. All of a sudden now, this DEI, this woke stuff is gone, and the numbers of people that are applying to join the military have gone through the roof.
Yeah, it's huge. In fact, he had a big press conference today in Michigan before his rally and spoke in front of an Air National Guard unit, and Gretchen Whitmer was there, no less, and he even dragged her sheepishly up to the podium to say a few words with all the men and women in fatigues behind him cheering as he announced they're building the new F-15s, I believe, up there in Michigan, going to keep that base open. So, yeah, Pete Hegseth was there. He's fully behind Hegseth. Recruitment numbers through the roof. All the DEI stuff is gone. And Hegseth's a warrior leader. And that's something, as you well know, Larry, establishment Washington hates. I think maybe more than Elon, more than RFK Jr., Pete Hegseth may be, next to Donald Trump, the most loathed man in Washington, D.C., because he strikes right at the heart of that military-industrial complex.
Well, we know that you interviewed Congressman Andy Biggs. Let's play part of that. Can you play that?
The 100-day recognition is this week. Could I get a broad overview of what you feel has been achieved as a member of the House in the first 100 days?
Well, we've done a lot of things to try to codify some of President Trump's executive orders. We've also put Democrats on record. We've sent stuff to the Senate. We did some things that I never would have thought possible for either myself or others to vote for, and that was we extended the budget so we could get started on the reconciliation process, and the reconciliation process has gone slower, quite frankly, than I wanted, but that's been good. But, I mean, you look at overall, let's take a look. The border security is probably the most consequential in my lifetime. It's I lived down in Arizona. I grew up in a congressional district that bordered the border, and I will tell you, it's really remarkable to see what's going on. Although we still have issues, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Then you look at the moves that we've seen to deregulate the EPA with 31 major rules coming down. You look at the attack on the Department of Education, which is absolutely unconstitutional. There's no constitutional authority for it whatsoever. And you see, what I tell people all the time is, and I'm sorry to ramble on here.
That's all right.
You gave me an open question.
It's a big one.
But that's the bottom line for me is I'm seeing what I'm calling the rebirth or the renewal of federalism. That's what President Trump's done. I mean, when you think about that, where you're deregulating these federal, or what I would call national mandates in favor of state control. And that's happening, and it's a remarkable thing to see. In the meantime, President Trump has basically done a great job, in my opinion, reining in the international world, this move to the global or new world order, or the globalism that has been there for the last 30 years. he's been remarkable at taking that on as well. So this has been a multifaceted attempt to restore constitutional republicanism in the country. And when I say republicanism, I'm not talking about the Republican Party. I'm talking about what the founders intended. They intended a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And we're seeing that. It hasn't been perfect and hasn't been beautiful, but I can tell you this, when you're making the change and causing the disruption in a status quo town, you're going to have the pushback that we see.
Chris, I have said that the 4 years President Trump was out of office turned out to be a blessing in disguise. He was able to reassess his first 4 years, figure out what he did right, what he did wrong, and then understand better the kinds of people he needed to have around him. To that extent, he's now assembled what I consider to be an A-team. They're all great communicators. Everybody from Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, to Lee Zeldin, the head of the EPA, to Kristi Noem, DHS, Stephen Miller, his top policy advisor, Tom Homan, Marco Rubio. You can go on and on and on. They're all tremendous communicators.
Couldn't agree more. And also, I talked with some other members on Capitol Hill the last 24 hours, Larry. Here's one thing that's different about this Republican constituency up on Capitol Hill. They know who's the boss this time. There's no bucking Donald Trump this time like Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell. This time, Thune and Johnson know who's boss, and they're trying to get everybody to row the same direction. That's a unique difference this time.
It sure is. I mean, you and I were talking earlier about free trade. Virtually every one of these Republicans were aghast at the extent to which Donald Trump was imposing these tariffs. Nobody bucked him. They're all like, okay, you deserve the benefit of the doubt. You won the election. You won all 7 states, so we're going to hang with you. Think about that. I mean, when's the last time a president had that kind of hold over his party?
Laura Trump's going to tell us how they did that, by the way. You know, she was co-chair of the RNC. Massive win in November. It's a mandate.
Larry Elder, Chris Stigall, do not leave town.